Oh, it's a very good point. I used to have this kind of little, I don't know, phrase that water in the 21st century, which is now, will be what oil was in the 20th century. And that really meant to mean that we will have massive dependence on water like we had in the 21st century, 20th century, and still now relying on oil. But we do it in a very different way because water is not oil. First of all, oil is a finite, non-renewable resource. And when we use a gallon or a barrel of oil, either we burn it or we use it as a feedstock for chemical industry, it's gone. It will not be replenished. In contrast, water is an ultimate renewable resource. In really geologic times, we still have the same amount of water on Earth. And this is due to water being cycled on a global scale through what we know as a hydrologic cycle, that in large part is for free. It is driven by solar energy. Under that energy, water evaporates from the oceans and other water bodies, goes up in the atmosphere, and then precipitates either as rain, snow, then flows back to the oceans or recharge aquifers and so on. And I'm pretty sure many of your listeners are familiar with this. So apologies for bringing this up as a kind of very fundamental aspect. But what also I mean by the comparison with oil and stating that water is actually much more important than oil for us and for our children and our grandchildren, because we can live without oil. We lived for millennia without oil, and we are now transitioning away from oil. It does not mean that oil is not important. It is very important because we get huge amount of energy globally from that, and it will remain important. But in principle, and in the ancient past, we lived without oil. Now, the question is, do we want to live like that, like, in the 16th century? That's a different story. But we cannot live without water. There is no substitute for water for drinking. There's no substitute for agriculture, for personal hygiene. There is in many places no substitute for water, or at least acceptable substitute, economically, technically acceptable substitute for water in industry.